Good afternoon. This is the midday news on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Ashwarya Kapoor. Here are the headlines. 14th G20 summit underway in Osaka in Japan. Leaders deliberate on digital economy, data security. In the first session, terrorism, sustainable development, climate change, women empowerment high on agenda. Prime Minister Modi meets German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Osaka, discusses cooperation in artificial intelligence, e-mobility, cyber security. Also meets South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman holds bilateral talks with US President Donald Trump, participates in Japan-India-America trilateral meet and BRICS leaders meet. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu expresses concern on bills pending in the House for decades, asks Parliamentary Affairs Minister to build consensus on the issue. Upper House to take up private members' resolutions later in the day. Lok Sabha discusses Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Amendment Bill 2019, bill to bring persons residing in areas adjoining the international border within the ambit of reservation. Amit Shah moves resolution to continue President's rule in J&K for 6 more months. And Sri Lanka to take on South Africa at Chesterley Street. India continue winning streak, knock West Indies out of World Cup with a 125-run victory. Virat Kohli becomes the fastest player to score 20,000 international runs in all formats. The top story is the G20 summit is currently underway in Osaka. And in the session on the digital economy and artificial intelligence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi presented his vision of maximizing digital technology for benefit of the society. The 5 I's stated by the Prime Minister are inclusiveness, indigenization, innovation, investment in infrastructure and international cooperation. And earlier, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe welcomed all the heads of state of the G20 nations to the high-stakes summit. The leaders posed for the traditional group photograph before heading for the first session. US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, who are currently involved in a damaging trade war, also shared a handshake ahead of the session. All right, so Prime Minister Narendra Modi, of course, participating at the G20 summit, and let's cut across live to the G20 summit now.
हमारे बीच विचार विनिमय बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। हमारी आज की यह त्रिपक्षीय मुलाकात प्रमुख वैश्विक मुद्दों पर चर्चा और समन्वय का एक उपयोगी माध्यम है। हमारे विदेश मंत्रियों की इस साल फरवरी में चीन में हुई बैठक में कई मुद्दों पर विचारों का आदान प्रदान किया गया था। इनमें काउंटर टेररिज्म, इंटरनेशनल हॉटस्पॉट इश्यूज, रिफॉर्म मल्टीलेटरलिज्म, क्लाइमेट चेंज तथा आरआईसी के तहत सहयोग को आगे बढ़ाना शामिल है। अब मैं हिज एक्सेलेंसी राष्ट्रपति सी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे अपने ओपनिंग रिमार्क रखें।
很高兴再次同普京总统、莫迪总理一道举行中俄印领导人的非正式会晤，感谢印方为承办这次会晤。
And our colleague Akhilesh Suman is now joining us live from Osaka in Japan. Akhilesh, we just heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi presenting his vision on the digital economy at the G20 summit. Give us more details on what are the points that he placed before the summit.
Ashwarya, if I tell you that G20 summit is basically about economic and trade issue, and digital economy is one of the most important, aspects of this summit. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has formulated 5 principles for, digitalization and trade in digital economy, and that 5 principles include inclusiveness, indigenization, innovation, investment in infrastructure, and international cooperation. So these 5 I's, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that these 5 I's should be the basic principle behind digital economy. And he said that digital economy is like any other economy in the world. The way world economy is, expanding, digital economy is being part of it, and digital economy is going to be one of the most important parts of it. So in that context, he had also said that, trade in digital economy, trade in data, it should be decided by the WTO, because WTO is the body that is deciding the rules of all the trades. So digital economy and data economy, these all should be included in the WTO framework, so that no country can monopolize, no country can, restrict any data, and no country can, encroach the privacy of data. And digital economy should be very transparent, because most of the people in the world are now going into digital economy. So I think that this G20 summit that you are seeing, these are the most powerful and most, advanced economies of the world. And in this situation, this type of discussion is very important, because all these countries are, advancing in digital economy. And the way Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been telling us in India also to go into digital economy, I think we want to go in sync with the whole world. And, be it America, be it Japan, be it Germany, be it France, every country is heavily in digital economy now and in data trade. And I think that is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also spoken to his Chinese President Xi Jinping earlier. And Chinese President is also on board on this issue, the way Prime Minister has articulated the issue of data trade and digital economy. So it is going to be further discussion on this issue. But that G20
Akhilesh,
is not a body
of course, that digital economy issue, of course, resonating there in the G20 summit. We also need to talk about the meetings that the Prime Minister had today. He held, of course, on the sideline of the G20 summit, of course. We'll just come back to you. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with US President Donald Trump, and also a trilateral that included Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe ahead of the formal opening of the G20 summit. In the second Japan-America-India or JAI meeting, that is JAI meeting, the 3 leaders extensively discussed the issues of the Indo-Pacific region, connectivity and infrastructure development ahead of the formal opening of the G20 summit. The discussion focused on how the 3 countries can work together towards an open, stable and rules-based Indo-Pacific region.
A very good meeting. It was a short but very productive meeting, and the main topic of discussion was the Indo-Pacific, about how the 3 countries can work together in terms of connectivity, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of ensuring that peace and security is maintained, and in terms of working together to build upon this new concept so that it is for the benefit of the region as a whole and for the 3 countries, of course.
And after the JAI trilateral, Prime Minister Modi held a bilateral meeting with the US President. The 2 leaders discussed various bilateral and global issues, including Iran, 5G communications networks, trade and defense. The S-400 issue was not discussed in the meeting. While PM Modi expressed India's interest in Iran and the Middle Eastern region, US President Donald Trump said that the US will remain in touch with India to ensure stability.
आपका भारत के प्रति जो प्यार है उसको आपने अभिव्यक्त किया, इसके लिए मैं आपका बहुत आभारी हूँ। पोम्पियो भारत आए थे, कई विषयों पर चर्चा हुई है, मुझे अच्छा लगा। मुझे आपका जो गर्मजोशी से भरा हुआ संदेश जो उन्होंने मुझे दिया, समय की सीमा में मैं जरूर 4 विषयों पर चर्चा करना चाहूँगा। ईरान, 5G, हमारे द्विपक्षीय संबंध और रक्षा संबंध, इन विषयों पर हम जरूर चर्चा करेंगे। और भारत और अमेरिका के संबंध एक दूरगामी और सकारात्मक विजन के साथ आगे बढ़े, इसके लिए हम कमिटेड हैं और उसके लिए हम प्रयास करते रहेंगे। मैं फिर एक बार आपने समय निकाला, यहाँ मिलने का अवसर मिला, बहुत खुशी व्यक्त करता हूँ।
Mr. Prime Minister, and we've become great friends, and our countries have never been closer. I can say that with surety, and we work together in many ways, including military, but we certainly work together on trade, and we'll be discussing trade today. You did indeed have a landslide election. That was a great election, 72%, as I understand it, and that in the United States would be called a very big victory, and you deserve it. You've done a great job pulling everybody together. You had many factions, I remember, when you first took over.
And in the other bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the G20 summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The two leaders discussed deepening cooperation in trade and investment, energy security and counter-terrorism, among other areas. Prime Minister Modi also met with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Osaka. And on the margins of the G20 summit, PM Modi also held a meeting with the president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in. The two leaders expressed mutual desire to synergize India's Act East policy with South Korea's New Southern policy. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that terrorism is the biggest threat to humanity, which not only kills innocents, but also severely affects the economic development and social stability. Speaking at the informal BRICS leaders meeting ahead of the opening of the G20 summit, Prime Minister Modi said that there is a need to stop all the mediums of support to terrorism and racism. In the meeting, PM also put forward a 5-point approach to address the common challenges facing the world. PM Modi spoke about strengthening the WTO, fighting protectionism, ensuring energy security, and the need to work together to fight terrorism. He also stressed on the need to make development sustainable and all-inclusive.
आज मैं 3 प्रमुख चुनौतियों पर ध्यान दूंगा। पहली, विश्व की अर्थव्यवस्था में मंदी और अनिश्चितता, नियमों पर आधारित बहुपक्षीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय व्यापार व्यवस्था पर एक तरफा निर्णय और प्रतिद्वंद्विता हावी हो रहे हैं। दूसरी ओर, संसाधनों की कमी इस तथ्य को में झलकती है कि इमर्जिंग मार्केट इकोनॉमीज में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में निवेश के लिए अंदाजन $1.3 ट्रिलियन की कमी है। दूसरी बड़ी चुनौती है विकास और प्रगति को समावेशी सस्टेनेबल बनाना। तेजी से बदलती हुई टेक्नोलॉजी जैसे कि डिजिटलाइजेशन और क्लाइमेट चेंज सिर्फ हमारे लिए ही नहीं, आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए भी चिंता का विषय है। विकास तभी सही मायने में विकास है जब वो असमानता घटाएं और सशक्तिकरण में योगदान दें। आतंकवाद सारी मानवता के लिए सबसे बड़ा खतरा है। यह निर्दोषों की जान तो लेता ही है, आर्थिक प्रगति और सामाजिक स्थिरता पर बहुत बुरा असर भी डालता है। हमें आतंकवाद और जातिवाद को समर्थन और सहायता के सभी रास्ते बंद करने होंगे।
All right, let's go back to Akhilesh Suman, who's joining us from Osaka in Japan. Is Akhilesh talking about the meetings that the Prime Minister today had on the sidelines of the G20 summit? Of course, the most important was the one that he had with US President Donald Trump. And, a day after Trump, struck an aggressive note calling for the withdrawal of the retaliatory tariffs imposed by India. Today, he had a very warm meeting with the Prime Minister saying that we will certainly work together on trade.
Right. Yesterday, also, we were really very surprised that US President Donald Trump is making a statement and tweeting just before G20 meeting, and also before when he is going to be in a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But today, if you see the body language and if you hear the words of President Donald Trump, it shows that he understood that reality is somewhere else. It is not that the tariff is the only reality between India and USA. The realities are there are lots of convergence between India and USA. They are the biggest democracies in the world. and they are also the biggest open market in the world, and also that India is the largest open market. And given the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi also hinted that tariff is not an issue, the issue is that India's consumer market, and 1 billion consumers are there in 5G technology. So I think it was enough for President Donald Trump that if he wants to go into a 5G trade, India will be the best market for him, best transparent market for him. And Prime Minister said that if we want that India should collaborate in making India way in 5G technology also. So I think Mr. Donald Trump now understands that trade should be on equitable terms with India, and India is not putting any tariff that is not understandable. That is why both the leaders decided that it will be the trade ministers of both the countries, the commerce minister of both the countries, who will sit together and will decide that how concerns of each other can be addressed.
Absolutely. So India and US, they're deciding upon ironing out their differences as far as the issue, especially of trade, is concerned. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those updates from Osaka in Japan. And back home, news from the budget session of Parliament, and Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has reiterated the need to address the issue of pending bills in the upper house, while informing the members that 33 bills are pending in the Rajya Sabha. He urged the Parliamentary Affairs Minister to build consensus with the opposition over the matter. Rajya Sabha will today also discuss private members' resolutions today, where the members are likely to raise the issues like manual scavenging, population control policy, and innovative and latest methods for farmers.
The bills which are pending for years together, what should we do? If the government want to withdraw, I think we should come to an understanding that we should allow the government to withdraw. Why? I am not talking on behalf of the government. The reason is the backlog 33 bills or 30 bills or 20 bills pending in Rajya Sabha is not sending a positive image. So I would like the Parliamentary Affairs Minister to discuss with the leaders of various parties and arrive at some consensus. I am suggesting to both the government and to other members of the House, please have a regular interaction. Initiative should be from the government. And secondly, find out a way out how to end the pendency. End the pendency को pendency मिलना चाहिए. Pendency अंग्रेजी में शब्द नहीं है, मैं नया शब्द जोड़ रहा हूँ. But where is the ending for the pending? That should be our approach.
And now look at the legislative business that is listed for today's agenda in the Lok Sabha. Well, Home Minister Amit Shah moved a resolution seeking the approval of Parliament for the extension of the President's rule in Jammu and Kashmir for a further period of 6 months with effect from 3rd of July next month. The resolution was opposed by N.K. Premachandran of the RSP and Congress MP Manish Tiwari. Amit Shah also moved for the consideration and passing of the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Amendment Bill to amend the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Act 2004. Well, this bill is aimed at replacing the ordinance to provide 10% reservation for the economically weaker sections in Jammu and Kashmir.
राष्ट्रपति महोदय के शासन में और राज्यपाल महोदय के शासन में करीब 1 साल की अवधि के अंदर जम्मू और कश्मीर में बहुत समय के बाद पहली बार आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध जीरो टॉलरेंस की नीति को किया है। देश के रक्षा मंत्री और तत्कालीन गृह मंत्री यहां पर बैठे हैं। 1 साल के अंदर आतंकवाद को जड़ों से उखाड़ने के लिए, उनकी जड़ों को हिलाने के लिए और सभी तरह के इनके तौर तरीकों को नसीहत करने के लिए इस सरकार ने कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ी है महोदय।
Absolutely a misuse of Article 356. It is even the abuse of the provisions of the Constitution. This cannot be accepted. So my suggestion is from July 3rd onwards, you are going to extend for a further period of 6 months means you are not going to hold the election. The June is already over, and next 6 months, any other reasons may come. And also it is being heard that delimitation is going to come in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, so that delimitation, the number of seats will be increased, and in any way or other way, the election will be in a different way.
जब 2014 में हमने देश की बागडोर छोड़ी और यहां पे एनडीए भाजपा की सरकार बनी और वहां पे जम्मू कश्मीर में चुनाव हुए, जिस चुनाव में 64% से ज्यादा लोगों ने भाग लिया, तो एक सामान्य प्रदेश, एक स्टेबल प्रदेश, एक प्रगतिशील प्रदेश हमने आपको सौंपा था। पर उसके बाद जो जम्मू कश्मीर में चुनाव हुआ, चुनाव का नतीजा कुछ ऐसा नहीं आया कि किसी की अकेले सरकार बन सके। कुछ समय तक राष्ट्रपति शासन रहा और उसके बाद भाजपा ने पीडीपी के साथ मिलकर सरकार बनाई। और मैं ये बहुत दुख से कहना चाहता हूं, मुझे कोई खुशी नहीं हो रही है बात कहते, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली इट वॉज एन अलायंस of ideologically incompatible people.
And Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad will today move for consideration in passing the Aadhaar and Other Laws Amendment Bill 2019 in the lower house. Now, this bill proposes the voluntary use of Aadhaar as an identity proof for opening bank accounts and procuring mobile connections. The bill was introduced in Parliament once again on Monday, and it will replace the Aadhaar ordinance. The House will also take up the private members' legislations today. All right, let's go across to our colleague Panchanan Mishra, who's joining us live from Parliament. Of course, Panchanan, we are witnessing that both the houses are running smoothly. Of course, the chairman of Rajya Sabha importantly raising the issue of the pending bills. And also in the lower house, we have seen how the discussion is on over Jammu and Kashmir having more months of the president's rule. Of course, being Friday, it is also the day of private members' legislations in both houses today. Give us more updates.
Exactly. The question hour was held in both the houses. It was very smooth functioning in both the houses. And Chairman Venkaiah Naidu yet again reiterated that there are pending bills in Rajya Sabha. It's number around 32 or 33, which are pending more than 5 years. So he suggested that government and opposition should sit together and make a way out how to deal with these bills, or it should be lapsed or should be brought in a new form. So this is an important observation, and also scrutiny through these parliamentary committees. He also suggested that needs to be talked about it much more. This was in Rajya Sabha, and in Lok Sabha, the highlighted feature is that how the extension of president rule in Jammu and Kashmir, and also the bill to provide reservation the people of Jammu and Kashmir who is living along this international border and LOC. So the simultaneous discussion on this is going on, and it's a fruitful discussion is going on. And in the last, Home Minister Amit Shah will reply to that. Aishwarya.
All right. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those updates there from Parliament. And well, with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks so much for your time.